time.
TV's off.
Joe, I'm rolling. Josh.
Josh Arnold, investment consultant, brings you Garage Logic podcast number 1666.
Whoa.
Is that a devil number? Is that a devil number?
Whoa.
November 21st, 2025. 67 degrees, the record high on this day. That was back in 1990. And 11 below in 1880. 1880. I wrote the eights in a way that I could actually read them. Call Josh Arnold at 952-925-5608 for a free 48-minute consultation.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Haidt in the newsroom, and of course, the Rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Soucheray.
Yesterday, shortly after the show concluded, we became aware of a story released by I think it's called the City Journal.
Yes, sir.
And it's a story of the fraud in Minneapolis. Where is it? I had it right in front of me. Minnesota fraud. And we're going to have one of the authors on with us at 1 o'clock today.
Ryan Thorpe.
Yeah, Ryan Thorpe. It's there's not a great deal new in it, but what is fascinating is the speculation of Thorpe and Christopher Rufo, the authors of this, that a great deal of the money stolen from us has been used to fund Al-Shabaab terrorism organization.
Oh.
And we were going to discuss that with them.
Basically a confirmation of our worst fears.
Yeah. We do know, and Ilhan Omar apparently said words to this effect following the defeat of Omar Fateh. She was very angry at some clans, CLANS, and that these many fraudsters have sent money back to family members who may in fact be in a clan, and that clan may in fact be connected to Al-Shabaab. So it's getting worse. But I think Joe Thompson alluded to that when he said, you can't believe what you're going to find out.
From what I've been diving into this all morning long. From what I understand, all clans are related to Al-Shabaab because Al-Shabaab controls the country. Nothing happens in that country without Al-Shabaab taking a cut. So it really doesn't matter which clan over there gets the money. It's all some of it's being cut off and given to Al-Shabaab.
So how do they distinguish between if somebody wants to give money to Al-Shabaab or if somebody wants to buy Kenyan lakefront property or
I don't know. We'll have to worry about that.
Would you like to hear from Ilhan?
What language?
Is this regarding what?
So
No. What is this about O'Hara? Because I'd like to go there too.
Well, no, I could go there next, but this is about USAID. They cut off $2.3 billion of aid to Somalia.
Yeah.
In the wake, I don't know if this was in the wake of what we discovered, but she was very angry, and this was in light of what we just found out yesterday.
What's
why?
the
They
date
just
of
took a
this?
whole bunch of money back to it.
This is dated. The video is dated yesterday, Ken. So I don't know exactly when she got in front of this podium, but it's only 30 seconds long.
It is really, really a sad day in America. We are witnessing a constitutional crisis. We talked about Trump wanting to be a dictator on day one, and here we are. This is what the beginning of dictatorship looks like. When you gut the Constitution and you install yourself as the sole power, that is how dictators are made.
It sounds like she's angry that he's edging her out for the role.
Right.
Was that just sleight of hand? Was that just pay attention to what the good hand is doing while the naughty one is lifting cash out of taxpayers' wallets?
The amount of money produced by the American citizen that has been poorly used is absolutely mind-boggling. The amount of money I think Minnesotans right now, based on the level of fraud and Walz's incompetence to look the other way, I think Minnesotans.
Sorry, I'm trying to turn on my phone.
I think Minnesotans are entitled to not pay their taxes this year.
I couldn't agree more.
No, I'm serious.
Lead the charge.
Why are we paying taxes?
What if everyone got together and said, nope?
This is ridiculous.
Well, you know why, Joe, because the first thing they do is threaten to garnish your wages and then take your home. And they will do it.
No, I understand, Kenny. I really don't think there'll be a statewide outpouring of people who agree with me to not pay their taxes.
I wish there was.
I think that'd be unrealistic.
But this is outrage.
How do we get that movement going?
Linda Keller. Sorry, Linda.
Are you aware of the dilemma the police chief Brian O'Hara has found himself in? This regards our brothers and sisters in the Somali community. Are you anyone aware of this?
No.
Vaguely.
This week he discussed ongoing issues with youth crime in the city. And he was highlighting the recent shooting in Dinkytown that murdered one and injured two others, and indicated that East African kids are coming into Minneapolis from out of town to wreak havoc. Kind of a new wrinkle here. O'Hara went on to comment, they aren't the poor kids from Minneapolis that are our residents. These are kids coming to town in Mom's Mercedes-Benz to Dinkytown, and they don't know where they are, O'Hara explained in an interview with the WCCO's Susie Jones. In addition to the recent homicide in Dinkytown, there's been a rash of other crimes and disturbances in the area adjacent to the U of M campus that have included assaults, robberies, multiple shootings, shots fired, and auto thefts. Referencing the Dinkytown murder during Halloween revelry, O'Hara said the victim that was murdered was a juvenile. He was carrying a gun. He was from out of town. I think by out of town, O'Hara might just be referring to suburbs, if I'm not mistaken. He was from out of town. Another victim that was involved there, also out of town. And 3 guns recovered just from that scene. The shooter was described in emergency dispatches at the time as a Somali male. Chief O'Hara said in the interview, groups of East African kids that are coming from surrounding communities, and not just one community, kind of all over the place, are coming to the area armed and ready for a fight. We've seen both kids that come into Dinkytown and some of these places that are bars. They are just not old enough to be out hanging out with other kids. O'Hara said some of the activities they're seeing are gang-related, but other activities are being perpetrated by loose groups unlike structured gang activity. The city of Minneapolis has funded an organization called Somali Youth Link for amounts over $300,000 to support programs where Somali moms and dads reportedly try to be visible in some of the areas where youth are causing problems. However, there's been no apparent follow-up or reports made available on whether the efforts have been effective in stopping or curbing any of the violence being perpetrated. O'Hara has pointed out in prior media comments and briefings that it's often difficult to hold juveniles accountable in Hennepin County, including the difficulty in providing cause of specific perpetrators, as well as prosecutorial and judiciary leniency. Following the carjacking of Minneapolis Councilmember Jamal Osmond by juveniles earlier this week, he even called for meaningful consequences for the unacceptable behavior and also called for parents to pay more attention to what their children are doing. And now, this beleaguered fellow, do you have audio of him?
I sure do, Joe.
He's had to apologize now for saying this.
Why?
Just listen.
community hadda caruurteena inaan garab istaagno chiefkana waa u baahannahay annagana waa isku baahannahay
ashaan oo kamid ah odayaasha community-ga Soomaaliyeed iyo waalidiinta magaaladan degan ilmana ku koriyay.
The Somali community here in Minneapolis has been welcoming and has shown love towards me, and I appreciate it. Over the last 3 years, we have been working together to try and address some of the real serious problems that we have in our community. We have to be honest at times with the problems that we're having in our community, and we need our community to help us fix those problems together because it's real and it's serious. At the same time, if people have taken anything that I have said out of context in a way that's caused harm, I apologize, and I'm sorry for that, because that's not my intention at all.
Unbelievable. The first thing the Somalis do is leap on the cop for pointing out the obvious.
For speaking the truth.
For speaking the truth. This is pathetic. This state is in big trouble because no one's facing up to this. It sounded like Ilhan Omar's voice in that.
It was not her.
It was not her.
No,
but this is an example of don't dare question us.
Wait.
We don't intend to follow your rules.
Did you just make the mistake of thinking Ilhan was actually in Minneapolis?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's too bad that he apologized. He should have just said, "You're taking what I said out of context.
Yeah.
Stop doing that."
We have a problem. Yeah.
This is ridiculous that the chief has to take that position.
And it's a shame because he's in a no-win situation, right? He just is.
He won't stay here.
No.
Any police
Well,
chief
who would?
Any police chief would be crazy to stay here.
What is the current shelf life? Aren't we at about 2 or 3 years for police chiefs in Minneapolis?
You've got the Wild West situation with young people, and he points it out, and the Somali community.
I'm sorry, I know you're the boss, but
the Somali community wants an apology. Go bleep yourself.
Why are they so sensitive?
Because they've learned how to play the American game. They've learned to take advantage of passive-aggressive Minnesotans who stare at their shoes and are deathly afraid to call it what it is. It's been that way with fraud, with the leading guy looking the other way, turning a blind eye has been Walz, as the fraud continues to snowball and snowball and snowball. We have never been led more poorly. We have never been in more trouble financially. We have never seen such an ideological rift. We're at the point where we're letting the Somalis get away with whatever they want to get away with the exception of the good work of people like Joe Thompson, who keeps nailing them, and the FBI, who keeps nailing them, and the cops who keep nailing them. Yeah.
Monday, they were going to have a press conference to say, stop targeting us for pointing out all this fraud.
That's dropped out of the news. I think we alluded to that yesterday. Someone in their ring probably said you went too far with that one. Wait a minute.
They're taking the temperature.
Let's wait a while before we try that gambit. But you're right. On Monday, there was a big threat of a press conference to indict the media and commentators in town for having the audacity to break the news that the state now wishes to vet people applying for money. Go bleep yourselves. This is all going to backfire on you. I know you think you're being virtuous and you're being kind and you're desperate to prove. This has nothing to do with racism, by the way. Nothing. This has to do with criminal behavior. But we've reached the point in this rapidly crumbling society in America where you can't draw a distinction between criminal behavior and charges of racism. So we're in big, big trouble. And nowhere in the country is in bigger trouble than Minnesota. Could we revisit?
We're number one.
We are. Let's revisit. We only got to touch on it yesterday. The 77th defendant charged in Feeding Our Future.
Come on down.
The 77th defendant. Osman Camara, 45, inducted yesterday on a 9-count indictment with wire fraud, federal programs, bribery, and money laundering for his participation in the Feeding Our Future scam, announced U.S. Attorney Daniel Rosen. Camara is the 77th defendant indicted in what has been identified as the largest COVID-19 fraud scheme in the country. Defendant Camara was the owner of Kay's Dollar Grocery and Deli, a small storefront grocery store in North Minneapolis. In August of 2015, the USDA disqualified Camara and his store, Kay's Grocery, from participation in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program due to suspected fraud. In September 2020, Camara enrolled Kay's Grocery, a small storefront, remember, in the federal child nutrition program under the sponsorship of Feeding Our Future. In 2020 and 2021, Kamara fraudulently claimed to be serving meals to 1,000 children a day, 7 days a week at that site, the small storefront. In reality, Kamara did no such thing. He defrauded the program and stole money meant to feed hungry children. He claimed to have served more than 300,000 meals to children, for which he claimed to be entitled to more than $1 million in federal child nutrition program reimbursement funds. Kamara did not use these funds to purchase food to feed children. Instead, he used the money to fund his lifestyle, pay his credit card bills, buy a building in North Minneapolis. Kamara wired more than $100,000 in fraud proceeds abroad. What we're going to explore today as the show develops is how much food fraud money stolen from us was sent overseas and ended up in the hands of a terrorist organization. Could it have been Kamara's $100,000 that went there? Kamara also paid approximately $87,000 in kickbacks to a Feeding Our Future employee. Well, how was Feeding Our Future supposed to get a taste of this if they didn't get their kickbacks?
Right.
Feeding Our Future is saying, yeah, you apply under our rubric, our auspices, but you got to pay us. You pay us back.
No names mentioned there, though, right?
You're right.
Yeah.
The case is the result of an investigation conducted by the FBI, the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, and the Internal Revenue Service Criminal Investigation. Assistant U.S. Attorneys Joseph H. Thompson, Henry M. Jacobs, and Daniel W. Barbier are prosecuting the case. Thank you.
Okay, hold on. Keep that in your hand.
I got it.
I have a question, and I think you already answered it. The beginning of the piece you read, he allegedly fed how many?
Thank you. I was going to ask.
1,000 people a day, 7 days a week. And then he, in total, claimed 300,000 meals.
Okay, that's the number I was looking for. So, and then I think you answered my question later on. My question was, how come somebody didn't take note of that number?
That's what I've been wondering for 3 years.
And then, as it turns out, as you mentioned earlier, he was paying kickbacks to somebody at that organization. So they did notice. And
no. Let your mind go darker. Let your mind go darker.
No, you go ahead.
Well, maybe the kickbacks were going to people in the government agencies who were looking the other way.
That's where I'm going with it, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Joe, no. They wouldn't do anything like that.
So we really need to get some names here.
I'm glad you guys are on the team now.
We need to clean house. Oh, my goodness, we need to clean house.
I was talking to a guy yesterday. He said something interesting. When you have a big bank fraud in this country, it's 97% manufactured from within the bank.
Inside, yep.
Well, might this be 97% manufactured from inside the state capitol?
Joe, from the very get-go, from 2017 on, yes. Even though this was put into effect in 2020, from the very beginning, 3 years before then. Absolutely.
And they had the right dummy to be governor because they knew they could control him because he's too stupid,
and now,
or else he's the ringleader.
I'm convinced more than ever this is the exact reason why he's running for re-election. Because if he doesn't, all of this will be exposed, much like when Trump took office, we saw what happened on the national level, everything that was exposed.
And I am so in on this conspiracy that I think everything he says that isn't fraud-related is simply him trying to deflect attention away from this.
Welcome to the team,
like
Ken.
patting himself on the back for us being a trans refuge state.
Yep.
Anything he says is deflecting attention away from this.
Kenny, how about this? I said this to you before the show. He just tweeted this out. Minnesotans are good neighbors. We want to see our vibrant nonprofits thrive. Find a good cause for Give to the Max Day, and let's keep up our ranking as one of the most generous states.
I'm going to defer to Joe for a response to that. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, we're generous, all right, but it's under duress.
Oh,
well, we're generous to the Schoonover Foundation, Patrick Schoonover Foundation.
No, there's a difference between the Schoonover Foundation and the government-funded nonprofits.
An NGO, for sure.
Schoonover isn't getting any government money. He's doing the Lord's work by trying to screen kids for heart problems. The government hasn't given Schoonover a nickel.
Right.
I don't think Mike would ask for for a nickel
Of course
from those
not.
people.
No, of course
knowing
not.
Mike the way we do.
It's interesting to note that the U.S. Department of Agriculture disqualified this Camara fellow and his store from the SNAP program in August of 2015 because of suspected fraud. Well, did anything come of that?
No.
And shouldn't his name be in a computer when in
A
2020?
giant red flag.
2020 he applies for the Feeding Our Future stuff. Shouldn't
No
something
red
go?
flag popped up?
Yeah, look,
John,
2015.
your
Look what he
computer
did.
should start flashing red, like the blue screen of death. It should
Smoking.
be red. Warning! Warning! Warning!
Marion Rarick will join us. We don't know when.
She's going to text me when she's got the
she's looking up
information.
something for us.
Right.
Because before the show, Kenny was insistent that we find out the name of the specific legislator who might have created the House Stabilization Services Program that's conducted under the Human Resources Department of Human Resources. And Marion said to us prior to the show, just talking to her on the phone, she thinks that that's merely one in a long litany of federal programs offered to a state, and that Walz was among the first, if not the first, administration to accept that program.
I'm sure it's just coincidental.
It is. But she also promised, and she's doing that right now, she is going to check if there was a specific legislator who put the wheels in motion so that the legislative body could vote to agree to accept that program, then entrust the DHS to run it, which what we have seen has resulted in horrific fraud. Who's got the numbers from the money? Who's got the numbers at their ready?
Oh, just put any number in front of
No,
billions.
you just had them before. In 2021...
Give me a second.
So from the moment they accepted the program, we'll get it for you. We got it right here. Kenny, you had the...
Here it is. The program went live in 2020. Officials pegged the annual estimated price tag at 2.6. Quickly, it spiraled out of control. In 2021, it was 21 million in
Just a
claims.
minute. So what's the percentage increase in 1 year?
From 2.6 to 21 million.
What is
That's
that?
1,000%.
I'm not the math guy.
It's 1,000%.
All right, then keep going, Kenny.
And then in the following years, annual cost shot up to 42 million, then 74 million, then 104 million. The first 6 months of this year, payouts totaled 61. That's just in the first half year.
Virtually all of it is fraudulent. Yes, there are some people getting help, but not many.
Gabe and I found a name. I'm not confident enough to start beating up on this guy yet, though. So I think I'm not going to give this guy's name. We got to hear from Marion about
By beat
this.
up, Kenny said getting us sued.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean, Chris.
We've always been on to something, and I'll chide myself. I'm the one who resisted the tinfoil hat. I'm the one who resisted saying, I really doubt that government officials are putting money in their pocket. By that I meant state government officials. I am now willing to believe that there's somebody in the state capitol who's benefiting from this.
It's too bad it's such a boring topic because it'd be a perfect movie.
Not,
and you'd
it's
walk
not
out of
boring
the,
at all.
Joe, and you'd walk out of the theater going, "Nah, no way, that couldn't have happened." You need a love interest. You need somebody killed. You know,
the whole storyline.
Marion the librarian. She has to ward off the intentions of an evildoer.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
What you got over there?
Oh, I'm looking. Don't worry about it. What do we got here? We got that.
Yeah.
You know, I'll get you to you. I'm going to tell you about your garage. Sure. You know, you don't want a bad malfunctioning garage door in the dead of winter. Get a hold of Precision Garage Doors. If you need a new door, they have models for every budget. A designer comes out, you hash that out, you walk around, you go, hey, this would be cool. And right now, GLers, if you buy a new single door, that's $100 off and $200 off a new double door. If you like your current door, but you're a little uneasy because she's been making some cranky noises, book a Precision Garage Door Noisy Tune-Up Special. Noisy Door Tune-Up Special for $149, usually a $290 value. Let them tell you if there's problems on the way or if you're all right. Just get it checked out so you're not stranded there in the middle of winter and then 5 days go by and nobody's heard from you and your mail's piling up, and pretty soon people have to come over and shovel a path to see if you're in there, and they're banging on the door. You don't want that to happen. Book online at precisiondoormn.com or call 612-263-6985 to schedule your free on-site new door estimate or book a noisy door tune-up special with Precision Garage Door. Yeah.
It's the end of the world as we know it, but he feels fine. Joe Soucheray.
Well, you can't say anything in front of Such these days. I've been kicking myself all week for bringing up something called soft side door window zippers. If you know, you know, okay? If you don't, forget about it. Joe, stop being a reporter. Just because you don't know doesn't mean I have... Just keep your mic off.
He's trying to figure it out.
All you have to know, Such, and I think you already know this, Joe, is that it's another thing that Seafoam Deep Creep works. It helps zippers glide with ease. Use it on the hinges of your vehicle, your side-by-side, your tractor cab, a combine, even your MG, your go-kart, whatever it is. That's why you buy multiple cans of Deep Creep and keep them everywhere so you don't have to go traipsing around your ranch to find a can. Keep them in the house, the garage, one where you store seasonable cylinders, everywhere. The real planners, they actually keep a can of Deep Creep in their vehicle. You're a true GLer if you do that. That's called being prepared. It's an amazing product. It does amazing work, and it's more effective than any other product you'll find on those shelves. Smells better, too. Deep Creep, an amazing product in a world of rust and corrosion and stuck zippers.
Before we continue with fraud, I should set the record straight. Good morning, Joe. This is Dan in Buckley, Washington. And I'm sure I'm the GLer Kenny referred to, who has the view of Mount Rainier out my back door. Yeah. I mentioned the other day that Mount
any day now.
Mount Rainier is trembling, and any day now the volcano was going to go off. And he writes, imagine my surprise when I had to learn from a podcast out of Minnesota that my life and property was in imminent danger from a looming eruption. Of course, I went straight to the Google. Fear not, Honorable Mayor. Mother is not rumbling in Washington. This was evidently a malfunctioning seismic sensor. It's one of their oldest on the mountain and was apparently malfunctioning, just sending static due to interference from snow and ice. Reporting isn't what it used to be, so someone at the Daily Mail decided this was cause for alarm and sent it out over the wire without calling to ask anybody who might actually know anything about it. I also love that Kenny jumped straight into the traffic reporter mode and checked what the roads were like around the mountain.
Yeah, I did.
Please tell him not to worry. Please tell him not to worry. The roads are all closed around the mountain for winter, not because of any rumbling. All's well here in Washington, except for the politics. Love the show, Dan Schultz in Buckley.
Joe,
yes.
We can blame one person for this.
Me.
No. John Haidt.
Yeah. What?
This is what
he
happens.
wasn't here.
Yeah,
he wasn't
this
here.
is what happens when you're not here, John. The show just goes right down the toilet.
Nobody checks on you guys.
No.
Oh, we get away with a lot.
We all just sat here and lapped it up.
I'd like to return for a moment to the idea that Usman Kamara, who's a fraudster with a little tiny storefront, John raised a good point. In 2015, the guy was... apparently, it was so obvious that he didn't qualify to be a SNAP store that they didn't allow him to be one because of suspected fraud. And yet, a couple of years later, he was in on the food fraud. So the state's left hands don't know what the right hands are doing, or they do. And
they just don't care.
And it was just his turn to get a pile of dough because somebody was going to get a $86,000 kickback.
Nice.
Let me take a breath. I am pleased to, as I told you, Marion's going to join us. And she's coming up right now with something I want to say. She's so leery of the paid family and medical leave program that before it started, it hadn't started yet, but we've already got a committee looking at the potential for fraud, which I think is an improvement in the way the state does business.
You mean we're being
proactive on the fraud that could happen here. The Minnesota Paid Family and Medical Leave Program will be among the biggest new state initiatives in many years, and absolutely destructive, by the way, to many, many businesses in Minnesota. And I've always wanted to say this because I've never made it clear. We can find out who authored this bill. It was a DFLer. I don't have it in front of me. But this is an outgrowth of the DFL holding capitalism in contempt. This is just an outgrowth of an ideology that says we think work is unfair. And if you have to work for somebody, you're oppressed. That's what this is. They're going to pay people 20 weeks to not work. There's no reason for this at all.
I'm scared to death of it, and I have to deal with it.
It's okay. It requires up to 400 new state employees. 400 new state employees.
At an average cost of what per employee?
And nearly $1 billion in startup costs.
Oh.
Then in January, all of us will start paying for it with the new payroll tax. Can you share with the committee what fraud Deed is anticipating? Representative Isaac Schultz asked Evan Rowe. the Assistant Commissioner of Minnesota's Department of Employment and Economic Development, DEED. In other words, this is a program run by DEED, and here's a legislator asking its assistant commissioner, can you tell us what we're doing here? Do you have anything in mind to stop potential fraud? So at least we're getting out in front of it. Other lawmakers on the House Fraud and State Agency Oversight Committee had more specific questions about how the program could be abused when people apply to care for a sick relative. How do you verify that care is actually being provided and they're not, as we had spoken in many hearings before, just going to Florida for vacation and not really taking care of anybody? If you are taking leave for that care, the employer has a role in providing that information to us, Rose said. So in other words, it's a government program, but every onus of responsibility, the government is already shaking off. That's up to the employer. He'll have to tell you. As well as all other kinds of reporting elements I walked you through that can help ensure program integrity. One of these elements is a fraud reporting portal on the program's new website. It wasn't just lawmakers interested in how fraud will be prevented, but also employers who will have to cope with potentially multiple employees on leave at the same time. We are concerned with the mechanisms that will be in place at DEED to verify that an employee is appropriately caring for the designated individual on leave, said Troy Redding, a restaurant and food truck owner who employs 105 people. Rowe reiterated that it will be a combination of employers monitoring employees, the fraud reporting portal, and permission from medical professionals. We have a fraud reporting form and other ways folks can get in touch with us, and we really strongly encourage folks, I hate when you people use the word folks, to use those, Rowe said. We are going to take those reports seriously. Well, we have no reason to believe you, Rowe, although Rowe might be an innocent soul. We don't know. Once paid family and medical leave kicks in, an employee will get up to 20 weeks of paid time off a year for things like caring for a new baby or a sick family member. They will be paid 55 to 90% of their normal wage during that time. I don't understand that. What determines whether you're paid only 55% of your wage or 90% of your wage? I don't understand that.
Don't look at me.
If I was to, I would urge a gubernatorial candidate to promise the citizens of Minnesota that the first thing he or she would do is eliminate this program, get rid of it. This was a mistake. They were flush with cash from stealing the $18 billion surplus. This is just another boondoggle they created. It's going to make life miserable for employers. It's an affront to the idea of personal responsibility, discipline, and having an actual work ethic. This is nothing but a scam from day one. It should never have happened. And anybody running for office might gain some ground by vowing to do whatever possible to eliminate this BS.
We can't even speculate on how many businesses this is going to hurt and or kill, and how many businesses will be actually prevented from even starting due to this. If you want to start a business, you've got to be the only employee. Either that or have your spouse or one of your children work with you. I can't imagine having more than 2 employees and trying to deal with this.
Well, and you were gone. I read both of you guys were gone. I read a letter from a business owner who spelled out the complexities of this and how it was going to affect him, because he often has employees working at 2 different locations.
Yeah, so many. Yeah.
So the whole thing is such a mess for him that he doesn't know what the outcome will be. This is horrible. This was a slap in the face to everybody who has a business in this state. It really was. It's just a pathetic example of this corrosive ideology that keeps governing this state. And it's just a shame. This used to be one hell of a state. It is just falling apart.
As an employee, how in good conscience could you take advantage of this and do this? You know what I'm saying?
Well, you're talking to honest people.
You're right. Yeah, you're dealing
Locks
with
are for honest people, as the old saying goes. Yeah. We're not going to take advantage of it. We know many people who won't take advantage of it. But unfortunately, there are many people who will take advantage of it. One thing I'd like to know is, I assume the state is included. If you're a state employee, I assume
I'm sure.
They're included. Sure.
More than
Does
any
the
of us.
state, though, deal with, just like their retirement and their 401k, do they deal with a different set of rules? No, because they would still need to have health coverage, and it goes along with your health coverage.
Right.
So they still have to have Health Partners or Blue Cross or United, whoever it is.
So Bill Smith says, my mother is seriously ill.
Yep.
And Bill Smith says, I need my 20 weeks.
I think you might only be able to do 12 for caring for a family member.
Okay, I need my 12 weeks.
Okay.
And I want to get paid while I'm caring for my mom, and off he goes. Well, it's at that point, it's solely in the hands of his employer to literally either call him every day or drive to his house to see if he's caring for his mother.
Well,
Great story.
He needs to apply.
Who do we got?
He needs to apply with the state. The state has to approve it first.
Can we be joined by Marion? Marion Rarick. Hi, Marion.
Hi.
I'm so glad that you're on a committee that's already wondering how much potential fraud could result from the Family Leave and Medical Act, which I think is a really unfortunate thing to happen to Minnesota businesses.
Don't divert her attention now.
Yeah.
We asked a very important question,
I know.
Marion. And did you find out anything?
I did. I found out an entire history that's quite interesting.
Oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
We're talking about the Housing Stabilization Services and how the fraud has increased exponentially. And we were wondering when we called you if it was a specific legislator who introduced the idea of having that program available, or was it just a federally offered program that Walz's people signed off on? You take it away, Marion Rarick.
Thank you. Thanks for asking the question. So we have to go all the way back to the Dayton administration.
All right.
Okay, so back in 2017, Dayton had this idea of expanding this because it was an opt-in for the waivered service programs. So that's a federally offered program. You have to opt in, and you have to, pass it through the legislature and promulgate rules, and then that administration has to send a proposal back to the feds and say, hey, this is what we want to do, get it approved, and then you can start the program. Mm-hmm. But this starts with Dayton and Dayton alone. So back in 2017, Dayton in his budget proposal proposed opting into this new program, and it wasn't even called Housing Stabilization Services back then, but that's what we call it now. So we'll just call it that.
Okay.
And Republicans had control of the House and Senate. We did not put that bill into the omnibus bill during regular session. So we didn't finish all of the bills during regular session because typically when you got House and Senate controlled by Republicans and you've got a Democrat governor, you go into special session and once in a while you go into a shutdown. So the first time Republicans had the Senate and they had the House, so the first time in 40 some years that the Republicans had the Senate, we went into a long shutdown. Anyway, so what happened is in the negotiations before we got to special session to wrap up the Health and Human Services omnibus bill, it was one of those behind closed doors, nobody got to see kind of deals. That's where this stuff comes from. So Dayton, probably pounded his fist on I'm just imagining because I know he's done this in the past, kind of pounded his fist and said, I got to have it to close up this bill. And so it lands in special session, House File 2, which was authored by Matt Dean in the House, a Republican, and by Benson and Abler. So Senator Benson, Senator Abler in the Senate. They're all Republicans. So also what happens is if you're in charge then you are the author of the big omnibus bill. So
Okay.
it was folded into this big special session omnibus bill in 2017. Then what happened is the Dayton administration had to come up with the whole plan. How are we going to implement this? That plan was sent to CMS, so that's the Center for Medicaid and Medicare at the feds, in 2020. So it wasn't until 2020 that they finally had come up with a full plan. Who was in charge in 2020?
Walsey.
Walsey. So the Walz administration finished all of those plans and the promulgation of the rules and all that stuff, sent it off to the feds, and it was approved in 2020. Money started going out in 2021 in the middle of the pandemic. So that's basically how this came to be. Oh, and then I should say this too. So after the money started going out, there was at least one legislative auditor report. I don't have that in front of me. And the legislative auditor pointed out some problematic things in the program. Those were not addressed. And of course, we've had a significant growth, we'll just call it, in that program, which should have been a red flag, and nobody flagged it. And now, as of October 31st of this year, the program was officially ended, although I was just told that payments for some of the things are still going out, even though, quote unquote, the program ended on October 31st. And that is the whole history of housing stabilization services.
Marion, it went from 2.6, the estimated initial price tag, up to 104, and then at 61 million the first 6 months of this year before it was shut down. That's crazy numbers.
Those are crazy numbers. Those are numbers that were like the asking for reimbursement from these fake agents, fake service providers.
Yep.
And not all that money was paid out. So I did get a fiscal note. I do have to get it verified from DHS, and we have asked them from the legislature, hey, can you please tell us the actual numbers? And so instead of 100 million, I'm seeing more like 10 of money that actually went out the door. So it's not, now I got to get that verified, but the initial numbers I have from my nonpartisan fiscal analysts are saying that in the last year where we, the public was seeing 100 million, I think that was in receipts in the sense of like, here's my bill, pay my bill. But money actually going out was closer to 10.
Okay.
So they got billed for 100 mil, but maybe not all the 100 mil got paid out.
Good.
I don't see any evidence of 100 million actually getting paid out. So there is that. But I do believe it went from like 2.4 or 5 million in payments, and then it doubled, and then it tripled, and then I think the highest number I see in payouts is a little over 10 million.
Are we off base to have gotten to the point on the show where we now suspect there are kickbacks paid to people inside the government?
So when you say inside the government, do you mean inside the Walz administration and state agencies?
Yes to both those questions.
Okay. I've not seen any evidence of it. I do talk to whistleblowers. Excuse me. What I see more of is that through threats and intimidation, that money is going out the door, that the frontline workers are just being threatened.
Who would be threatening them?
From the things I'm seeing and talks with in the conversations I'm having, it would be Walz, Flanagan, used to be Chris Schmitter, which was the chief of staff for Walz, and then the commissioners and deputy commissioners.
So would that help me understand why some clerk with a cubicle issues a check to a Feeding Our Future person, for example, who claims to be feeding 1,000 people a day in a room the size of a public bathroom?
So, right, and that was happening when Walz and his administration were telling frontline workers, you don't go out and do site visits because COVID's scary and going to kill you. So they were not doing those site visits to see that. But from what I'm understanding from the whistleblowers inside of DHS, that when they would bring that to light, they were told by people in authority above them, whether they were, I don't think the commissioner came all the way down to the frontline worker, but it got down the chain of command Just get the money out was what they were being told. Just get the money out.
Well, that's headline making news, Marion.
Yeah.
There you go.
How long will good souls like you be able to hang in there?
Oh, my goodness. So, politics has become a very scary thing to do, as you've seen what happened July 14th.
Yes.
June 14th.
Yes.
And then throughout the summer. And as you know, the good Senator Rarick and I are married, and so we have this conversation, like, how can we continue to do this work? And we are committed to continue to do this, even though the vitriol and the polarization continues. There are still some of us that are not the crazy right or crazy left or whatever that are actually getting the work done in between. And so that's the land I like to live in, is the land of getting things done. Get her done.
I have a question for you that I'm scared to ask you on the air. So I'm going to dance around the name.
Ask Marion on the air, and Marion, you certainly have every right in the world to not answer it.
And I'm not going to use his name, but you know who he is. The guy that Jason Rarick, your husband, replaced. Why did he resign suddenly? That's the only question I have.
Yeah, that was Tony Laurie. So
you used the name, not me.
So, well, I mean, it's easy to look up. So Tony Laurie was the senator before my husband, and he was the reason my husband ran in a special for Senate is because he became the DHS commissioner, and in very short order, he was terminated. And I do not know for sure the answer to that. I have suspicions. I can tell you from interactions that I've had with Tony Laurie in many different instances, I believe he's a man of character, and he is similar in character to my husband and I. He just wants good things to happen. So for whatever reason, his beliefs and his approach was not in alignment with the administration, and he was terminated. And then after that, you had Jody Harpstead, right?
Yep.
Well, Jody Harpstead was in front of the Senate Health and Human Services Committee saying, oh, fraud is just a rumor. Let's not talk about that. There's nothing wrong. Let's just, let's talk about something else.
Yeah.
Now, and Jody Harpstead came from Lutheran Social Services as their executive director. And then, interestingly, if you look at their government money, government grants that they got after she left and went to DHS, their money exploded with how much they received.
Interesting.
Marion, I have a question before we let you go.
I'm glad I asked.
We're having a gentleman on in a couple of minutes because he wrote a piece talking about autism fraud money being siphoned to Somalia to fund a terrorist organization. And just a couple of months ago, we had Joe Thompson in investigating a lot of the fraud cases here in the state of Minnesota saying, this is just the tip of the iceberg. How layered and dangerous is all of this information that the public is not aware of?
Well, I am very much eager, to see the evidence behind all of that. And you're talking about remittances. So what I can tell you is remittances is a really, really big deal in Somalia. And if you look at the percentage of remittances that came in 21, so the height of the pandemic, the height of all of this fraud tipping, right? 22.7% of their GDP was in remittances. That's an exorbitant amount of money. Now, I don't know where it all came from. It could have come from all over the world, but it was a lot. And they are even concerned today with the percentage of remittances as a part of their GDP. It has gone down since 2021, but it's still a very significant, around 18%, I think, in the last report I saw, of their GDP. So I don't know, how money gets there, the wire fraud, or the wire fund, the wire transfer. I keep saying wire fraud because that's what the charge is. The wire transfer, I don't know what hands it has to go through to get to the family that it's going to. I don't know, but I certainly would like to hear your guest as to their evidence as, that person thinks that it's going to fund terrorism, which would be horrendous. I don't know because I don't have the evidence in front of me, but I certainly would like to know. And I think that the federal government should fully investigate it to find out, is this money being stolen and then sent over to fund terrorism?
Well, we certainly,
Thanks? Question mark.
We certainly appreciate your time. You can't hold me. You can't blame me for wondering about this. Is it Lori that left DHS?
Yeah, Tony Laurie.
You can't blame me for now wondering if he was resigned because he didn't want to play ball.
Yeah, I had the wrong idea about him. I'm glad that I asked you and you set me straight about that, Marion. I really appreciate that.
Well, I can only tell you what I've experienced, and from what I've experienced, he is a man of good character, and he has a very good reputation still in his district, the district that he had served. His mother was a state senator before him, Becky Laurie. Yep. I see her on occasion still. And Stu is a fine fellow, too. So Stu is his son, and he ran for almost like a dynasty sort of thing.
Kind of a family business.
Sure.
Yeah. And he's a lovely person, too. But I would definitely say that Tony Laurie is a man of character.
Okay. Boy, I'm glad I asked. Good.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate it. We'll stay in touch. All right. Thank you.
Excuse me while I pick myself off the floor, Joe. Wow. Wow.
Call the news stations.
Yeah. Somebody should call downstairs.
Call the fraud department.
Yes.
And I have found her to be nothing except trustworthy over the years. For her to say that is quite gutsy.
She's usually pretty guarded.
I know what you're doing. I know. Well,
high five, Gabe. High five.
Yeah, I think he wants the rim shot.
No, I want to tell you,
Wants the rim shot.
get out to EcoFun. The weather's breaking for you for the weekend. Get out to EcoFun Motorsports in Forest Lake / Columbus. It's right on. It's west of the interstate, right on Highway 97, and the winter stuff is in stock. The electric bikes are on sale. The motorcycles and scooters are at their lowest prices of the year. And again, the Yamaha and Kawasaki models of ATVs and side-by-sides are in stock and ready to go. As I mentioned, winter equipment on full display and ready to go. Electric bikes on sale at $9.99. Fall riding is here, and soon enough, it's winter riding with your ATV or side-by-side. It's EcoFun Motorsports, Forest Lake / Columbus, Highway 97, immediately west of the interstate, and down in Burnsville on the Service Road of Life near County Road 42, and a wonderful, wonderfully tempting website, ecofunmotorsports.com.
For a little while it seems you got time to choose your dreams. Pretty soon you look around and you see 100 years.
Okay. State rep.
Awaken 180 Weight Loss and Awaken180weightloss.com. 3.5, almost 4 weeks on the program. Just checked in with Emma today. I am down 17 pounds because of Awaken 180 Weight Loss. It's been an amazing transition, and it will work for you. You know what? It's a busy schedule for anybody. It doesn't matter. If you're on the go all the time, it's you eat to lose weight, and you check in with your coach. It's one-on-one coaching, and it's fantastic. You can find out more information at Awaken180weightloss.com. If there's no no complicated tracking. There's no calorie counting. There's none of that stuff. You just download the app and boom, you're ready to go. 844-346-1800 for that free consultation. Or again, awaken180weightloss.com. It's worked for thousands of people, including yours truly. Please let them know that you heard about it right here on the Garage Logic podcast.
We're joined by Ryan Thorpe. Ryan's an investigative reporter at the Manhattan Institute. And Ryan, you and Christopher Rufo have done a piece on the fraud in Minnesota, much of which we're entirely aware of, but you guys have introduced the new wrinkle of your suspicions that some of the money is going to Al-Shabaab, a terrorist organization.
That's correct, yeah. So I was assigned to look at a lot of these fraud cases that were coming out of the state of Minnesota. It pretty quickly became apparent to me that this largely seemed to be concentrated in the state's Somali community, particularly a lot of these large-scale schemes, that we have seen exposed in recent years. And then as I was continuing to report that out, develop sources in the state, in political circles, and with law enforcement, counterterrorism investigators, someone had mentioned this to me, that stolen taxpayer dollars were being sent back abroad to Somalia, and some of that money was ending up in the hands of Al-Shabaab. I was able to develop a number of other sources on the law enforcement and counterterrorism side of things, people who had looked into this personally and who verified that this indeed is taking place.
The word clan is used, that apparently many Somalis belong to a specific clan, for example. And what we've always heard over the last 3 years is a lot of money was sent back overseas, maybe to the clan that the current resident here might have belonged to. Am I on the right track?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of this money is going back to clans in Somalia, to relatives in Somalia, given the fact that Al-Shabaab controls, significant chunks of that country. When this money flows through Hawala networks under their location, law enforcement sources are telling me that they're absolutely taking a cut of that money as it passes through.
What's a Hawala network?
It's an informal money transfer network. So in many Islamic countries, they don't have traditional banking systems like we have here in the West. So it's kind of an informal system that they have set up in order to move money from different recipients. And so when the Somali diaspora seeks to send remittances back to Somalia, it is often traveling through Hawala networks.
How would they literally do it? A cashier's check? How would the money get sent abroad?
Well, I've heard a few different ways that this can happen. So one of the counterterrorism investigators that we spoke to for this piece had looked at the fact that significant amounts of money were being taken out of the country as cash and were simply being flown out on commercial airliners. You basically just have to fill out like a one-page federal form declaring the fact that you're taking cash out of the country. And then there doesn't appear to be a ton of other, scrutiny in terms of, okay, well, where did the money come from? So Hawala networks will use couriers to take cash out physically. My understanding is also that often with Hawala networks, it relies on a trust system, people who've been doing business together for a number of years. So sometimes the money isn't even physically transferred. It's that, one Hawala network will vouch that they have received it, and then money gets released at a different Hawala network in a different location.
Will the Manhattan Institute or you and Rufo, for example, are you going to continue to follow this? Do you think there's more here than you've touched on yet?
I certainly hope so. One hope whenever you do an investigative piece like this is you're kind of planting a flag. And, we've confirmed what we've been able to confirm to date, but we're hoping to shake more information loose. And certainly speaking to law enforcement and various sources in Minnesota, like the true scope of the fraud isn't really known yet. The U.S. Attorney's Office has started to use the term billions of dollars, but in terms of just what is the total dollar figure that in the past handful of years has been defrauded, that kind of remains unclear. But I think more indictments are going to be coming, so I think there's going to be continual developments in this story. And certainly there's more to learn about where the money's going and how it's ending up there.
We just learned, prior to you, we were joined by Representative Maren Rarick, who is a state legislator who is deeply involved in ferreting out fraud. And her exact words were that the fraud was allowed to continue because the people in charge of disbursement were hectored from above. They were threatened from above to keep it going.
That's interesting. I know that people that I have spoken to have talked about the fact that there's a real political incentive at play here, that the Somali community is a sizable voting bloc, and that politicians are afraid to alienate that community. And so that certainly could be an incentive, I would imagine, to kind of look the other way after it should have been very clear to state officials that they had a significant problem on their hands.
Well, let me turn to the beginning of your piece, because you touched on something very interesting, and that is, you said billions of dollars have been taxed. In many cases, fraud has been perpetrated by members of Minnesota's sizable Somali community. And what you say, this happens when a tribal mindset meets a bleeding heart bureaucracy, when imported clan loyalties collide with a political class too timid to offend, and when accusations of racism are cynically deployed to shield criminal behavior. The predictable result is graft, with taxpayers left to foot the bill. That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, as I was reporting this piece out and diving deeper into this topic, the picture that was emerging for me was really kind of a perfect storm of conditions in Minnesota to facilitate fraud on a massive scale. You have a very insular community there, the Somali community, which, the Feeding Our Future scam revealed that they are willing to cynically deploy accusations of racism. When the state tried to halt payments in regards to that particular fraud scheme, lawsuits were filed. They claimed racial discrimination. Protests were organized. You also in Minnesota have one of the most generous welfare states in America. And then some of these programs you see, like, they were almost specifically designed to have very few checks and balances, because assuming that they felt like not enough money was getting into the hands of people who need it. I think we're now learning that those checks and balances are very important, however. And then you have a progressive political class that doesn't want to be seen as being politically incorrect. And from my review of mainstream media coverage as well, I feel like there was a hesitancy and unwillingness to kind of connect some obvious dots here and call a spade in regards to what's been going on.
Where are you from in Canada?
I live in Ottawa.
Oh, okay. But you're in Ottawa now?
I'm currently in Ottawa, yeah.
I'll be damned. All right.
Ryan, I have a question regarding Al-Shabaab. Is it paying off Al-Shabaab kind of akin to, if you want to get a building put up in New York, you're going to have to give the mafia their cut? Is that kind of how they work in Somalia? You have to pay them whether you want to or not, or is it different than my thinking?
No, that's how it was explained to me from counterterrorism sources. So one individual I spoke to worked on the JTTF in Minneapolis for a very long time. Yeah. And I was trying to get a sense from him, like, look, are the perpetrators of these fraud rings, are they specifically defrauding government programs in order to raise money for Al-Shabaab? Or is this that it's simply inadvertently ending up some of the money in their coffers as they seek to move this money abroad? And what he told me was that this is something that they had looked into. He almost made it seem like a bit of a white whale case for them that they'd been chasing for a very long time. And he basically said to me, look, there's a lot of Somali crooks in Minneapolis and in Minnesota. There's also a lot of people with jihadi sympathies, but they're not necessarily the same person. So that kind of aspect of this case remains unclear to me at this point. But certainly investigators who have looked into this and who know a fair bit about Somalia indicate to me that, in the areas of that country where they're in control, they're getting their hands on money all sorts of ways, whether or not people seek to give it to them or to fundraise for them.
Got it.
What will it take for this to blow up thoroughly? What will this take what will it take for this to blow up in such a way that we remedy it, that this ends?
So that's one thing I was interested in exploring, and I spoke to a lot of people about it, and at least the law enforcement context that I developed for this piece really told me they don't think there's a law enforcement solution here. They're kind of playing whack-a-mole a little bit, where they uncover one fraud ring, there's prosecutions, but it's such a vast network at this point that's not really enough to solve this problem. Certainly, there is a role for law enforcement to play. It's good that we're seeing more indictments coming down and some of these fraud rings being wrapped up. But there has to be more done on the policy side of things. I mean, there has to be a real, let's go back to the drawing board in terms of how we're administering these programs. I also think that, it seems to me it's gearing up to be a significant political issue in the state. So hopefully, that helps raise more awareness about what's been going on, drives it more into the public discussion, because Minnesotans should be outraged.
Well, it seems to me that it's going to require a retooling of the entire capital, of the entire government organization, because the governor we had now has demonstrated that he's not capable of handling any of this, and may very well have been aware of it all along, but continued to turn the blind eye. And I agree with you. I don't know what law enforcement can do. The voters will have to ultimately decide to throw everybody out and start over somehow, because I do believe we haven't heard the worst of it yet.
That's what's been indicated to me, is that we're scratching the surface. One individual said, this is someone who's in political circles, who has a lot of connections with law enforcement. He said, when I'm talking to law enforcement officials off the record, they think, this might be 20% of the fraud that we've exposed to date. So it appears we're scratching the surface in terms of learning just how bad this has been. But I agree, the public needs to demand change. Like, this is unacceptable. This is a scandal. The people who have overseen this have proven themselves incapable of properly administering government services without the massive defrauding of their taxpayers. Like, that needs to change. Yeah.
Will you and Rufo be having a follow-up that we should be keeping our eyes out for? Or is this a one-off?
I certainly hope so. I'm not currently in the process of drafting another article, but I've been able to develop connections and sources while reporting this piece. So I'm hoping to continue to make use of that. We're hoping more information shakes loose as a result of the piece and the reaction that it's got. So I certainly hope that you'll see more coming from us on this front.
Ryan Thorpe, I thank you. Thanks for joining us.
We thank you, Ryan.
Yeah.
No, it was a really good piece. Really well done.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, bye. Don't you want to know how I knew he was from Canada?
His accent?
I could tell from the accent.
See, I thought you asked about Ottawa because you were going to go straight to hockey.
I did too. I was waiting for it.
I did have the temptation to wonder if he goes to any Sens.
What do you think of the Sens?
Yeah, the Sens.
And then I figured you were going to ask, well, what did your parents do? Because you always say that. You always ask that.
Yeah, well, that far be it for me to provide any information. I don't know.
Sorry, Joe.
God almighty.
Just doing your job.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We have really learned a lot today, GLers.
Boy,
wow.
Yeah, I am maxed out.
Well, I'm kind of sorry I came back to work this week at this point.
That was a lot today, Joe. A lot.
We still have to do this.
We're going to cut out a little early as a result of that?
No, we're not done by any means.
Friday.
You are.
Don't we have?
We're not.
We have Patrick, don't we?
No. He texted me, said, "What's the bleeping deal?"
Yeah.
Well,
and I said,
he wants to join us.
No. I said, we've had a few guests.
Off.
We've ran a little long. He said, "Bleep it. I'm out."
Okay.
Okay, good.
He's probably at the prep
That's
bowl.
what I asked. I said, "Aren't you at the Ziggy today?" And he said, "Bleep it. I'm out."
He's at Iota is playing.
Hey, there's a big one tonight. Edina and Moorhead. That's going to be a good game.
That ain't no 9-man.
You know what I got out of all that? Not to change the subject back to all this.
No, I want you to, John.
We need to make sure the Republicans put up a bunch of really good, viable candidates this upcoming election.
If there was ever
Don't
a time,
screw around.
You can't screw this up, Republicans. This is on a platter for you to take. This state needs to be literally reinvented.
When he used the term whack-a-mole, I just thought he's right. And
because
we've
he said
scratched the surface.
If you go back, he said you have to go back to the drawing board to start everything over. That's not going to happen if you continue with the people in charge that are in charge now.
No, it won't.
Just never will happen.
And
How do you make
Minnesotans
this
don't buy this racism BS.
Joe.
It's not racism for you to wonder about this.
How do you make this interesting to the average, blue collar worker who's not listening to this and will never listen to this? How do you inform them and make this interesting to them?
It seems to me that it's unavoidable that the average worker, blue collar, white collar, whatever, in Minnesota is just going to begin to notice their life changing for the worse financially.
You've got to tell them, give them a scale. If you paid this much in taxes last year,
here's how much went to Somalia.
That's what you have to do to each and every worker. You've got to give them, you got to break it down, dumb it down for them so they know.
And any politician that says they're running against Trump, they're full of S. They have no platform, and they are of no use to anybody in this
Anybody
state.
running
really
against
go with
Trump.
you on that one.
No, John, if somebody running for a mayor's seat is saying I'm running against Trump, come on.
1, 2, 3, 4.
But-
how many people do we have on the staff? 5?
Five.
Well, 4 of us believe, John, that it's a telltale sign of uselessness if you're running for a
But
local
you
office and
guys-
you say you're running against
I
Trump.
don't want to defend John. It's so easy to do that, though, because of what Trump says and does.
And look how successful it was in the election a month ago, or not a month ago, 3 weeks ago.
Look, here's what people are hearing today. We're only doing this because we're Trump people. That's what people will hear in Minnesota.
Yeah.
We favor Republicans because we're Trump people.
Well,
no, I favor Republicans because I don't trust Democrats to clean up this fraud
And
problem.
what did I just say 10 minutes
You're
ago?
right.
I said,
You're right.
we need Republican, and obviously I don't fit into the category you just named. So
No,
know
you
what I
don't.
mean?
None of us do.
Yeah.
We need help. We need good people to clean this up.
We must do
need
something about this.
Abraham Lincoln has to lay down the axe and walk to the Capitol.
Hell, I'd even accept an honest Democrat. Just somebody. God help us. Somebody.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Well, I have another dark thought to introduce.
Oh,
but
good.
Well, let's take a break first.
Okay, let's talk about, speaking of money, whatever you got left, open up an account with North American Banking Company because they've been investing in your success since 1998. And way back then, they made a promise to deliver a better banking experience for their customers where you know your banker and they know you. And you know what? That rings true each and every single day and any time that you walk into any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations, whether it's Roseville, 50th in France, Woodbury, Hastings, Shoreview, and Maple Grove. Online and mobile banking are important for everyone these days, and you might think that a community bank would have versions of these that were last updated back in like 2010. But no, not North American Banking Company. They have the same online and mobile banking tools as all of those other big national banks, and they're so easy and also very convenient to use. But see it for yourself. Check them out online today. It's nabankco.com to learn more. It's banking done differently. North American Banking Company, member FDIC, is an equal housing lender.
Long as I feel.
This guy wears many hats, just not indoors. Joe Souchere.
What commonality runs between the federal government unleashing crates of cash and the state of Minnesota abusing that.
Say it again.
What is the common point between the federal government unearthing just crates of cash to give away and the state government of Minnesota abusing that? COVID.
Oh.
What the hell?
It was a game changer, wasn't it?
COVID changed. COVID has a role in this now 5-year-long deceit that we've experienced.
Do you mean lack of accountability? COVID gave us to...
No, it was almost like a masking agent. I know what you're saying. That was pun intended, by the way.
Yeah.
That it was,
got it.
as we mentioned, shiny hand, look over here, while this hand is doing something completely different.
I mean, on the one hand, we're all frightened to death to go outside. While on the other hand, the money's being stolen as fast as it can be stolen.
What did she say?
And learning about this, getting onto it, has paralleled the fading of COVID into the background. Now that COVID's in the background, I do think we'll be sold on some other disaster, by the way, some other cold coming our way that we'll have to be worried about. But as COVID fades into the background, these problems have been brought to the forefront, which we should be thankful for. The attorneys, the Justice Department, the FBI, but
you're saying COVID, the sequel, coming in 2028?
What I'm seeing is no one got away with more in this country as a result of COVID than Walz. No one got
As far as spending money.
As far as upending our way of life in Minnesota, whether it be financial responsibility or whatever you want to plug in there. This bomb dropped when COVID did. I don't know where to go with that.
Well, that's when you started preaching, too. That's when you were tempted to sign us up for the free money.
And there were vast reserves of money. I mean, just all of a sudden, everywhere. And I think probably part of that was they just didn't pay attention. They just were like throwing
But the
money
wheels were in motion before COVID, right, John?
Yeah, that's right. The program was,
Well, but
the allotment of money wasn't.
You're talking about Mark Dayton's involvement?
Yeah.
Okay, let's put that in perspective. I do not suspect Dayton, by any stretch of the imagination, intending to have that be a vehicle for fraud.
He did not have ill intentions. No.
I agree. I do not think at all he did. And in fact, nothing even happened with that program. He initiated a response to the federal invitation. Yes, we'd like that. Mm-hmm. He was gone by the time it got here.
Yep.
It was Walz who's overseen it.
How about this Tony Laurie thing? Huh?
Well, it clearly sounded to me, reading between the lines, that what we learned today is that Tony Laurie left DHS. Well, did he resign or get fired?
That's something interesting because the piece I'm reading from the North Pine County News that was updated in 2020 says that he resigned. Yeah. Marion used very different language.
Yeah, and every piece I've seen said suddenly resigned. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, then based on what we learned today, and boy, we've learned a lot, I would say that we'll take Marion's word that he's a good fellow, an ethical fellow, and maybe he was shown the door because he was trying to stop this.
Yep.
As your words were, he wasn't willing to play ball. Yeah.
If you're in the newsroom downstairs at HBI, give Tony Laurie a call.
Why don't we give Tony Laurie a call?
Because it's late on
We
Friday.
need a media outlet that, Joe, we need an outlet that reaches more people than us. We have to admit that.
The #1 downloaded podcast in Minnesota?
We can be credited with breaking it, but we need help with this one. We're not going to get it from the Star Tribune. I don't know if we're going to get it from your newspaper, but Channel 5 could break this.
Well, I'll be glad to talk to somebody down there. Do you want me to do it on the air or off the air?
I already have been in the last 30 minutes.
Well, then Kenny's already done it.
At the same time, Laurie resigned, so did his chief of staff and 2 other members who worked under him. So maybe they were all told, here's how it's going to happen. If you don't like that, see ya. That's kind of what I got from
Do you get a parting gift or do you get anything?
What enticed him to keep his mouth shut?
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Well, she used the word threat. Right? Am I wrong? Didn't she use that word?
It might have been, to defend her, I think that might have been speculation on her part.
Okay.
Let's not put words in her mouth.
So what have we learned? Let's have a recap.
We're in bigger trouble than we thought.
Let's have a recap.
That I need to go sit in the woods right now.
We learned what some of you suspected from day one, and I now am fully on board. We learned the very real probability, not prospect, the very real probability that this fraud involves people working for the state of Minnesota. That kickbacks were paid. Possibly kickbacks were paid not only to Feeding Our Future, which was the overall command center for distributing the fraud sites, but maybe kickbacks were paid to the people who kept the money flowing. We learned that a Department of Human Services director, Tony Laurie, suddenly resigned, is I guess the official interpretation, and that a couple of staffers followed him out the door. Could it be that they were trying to put a stop to this? Certainly sounds like it. We've already known that Heather Mueller at the Department of Education was conveniently allowed to move on and leave the government when this bleep all hit the fan.
Never to be heard from again.
No, she's got some other velvet glove gig where she's getting money from the state for some sort of education programs to introduce to prisons, if I'm not mistaken. So she landed on her feet. Jody Harpstead, I don't know where she landed, but she's been replaced by who's the current woman who's never said a printable sentence in her life. She just uses gobbledygook to try and maintain some semblance of responsibility at the DHS. Help me. Come on, let's go. What's her name?
Harpstead.
No, who followed Jody Harpstead?
Oh, yeah.
Shireen?
Looking for
God
a replacement.
almighty.
Well, Shireen, for crying out loud, Shireen Gandhi.
Yeah, Shireen Gandhi.
Yeah.
Who
Thanks,
who speaks for the agency but has never said anything meaningful. Not one word.
Walz thanked her for her 5 years of service to the state of Minnesota in January of 2025.
At about which time she was coming over to DHS.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he knew she'd be the right one to fill the position. If you know what I'm saying. We learned that housing stabilization services spending increased exponentially, and that we also learned that there may have been $100 million of bills, but that maybe, fortunately for us, that $100 million was not paid out. Maybe only $10 million of it was paid out.
Only.
Yeah. We learned that the Manhattan Institute, which I think is what's a good way to call it, a conservative think tank?
I said that I think that they're almost like the Alpha News on a national scale.
Yeah. They did a piece in which they are alleging that they believe that through something called halawas, which is some sort of clan manipulation to transfer money, that some of the food fraud money sent back to East Africa is very likely ending up with terrorists, because the terrorists run the country and they get their taste. You know, if Farmer Brown's walking down the road and suddenly he's got $100,000 in his pocket, the terrorists are going to say, "Where's our taste?" And he's got to peel some cash off for him.
Well, as Kenny mentioned, it's just like the mob. Yeah,
because they have no government.
No. We're here to protect you.
Yeah, they have
from
no
other
government.
people.
They just have this chaos, which unfortunately many of them are brought to this country. Rather than take advantage of the fact that they've escaped all that, they reintroduce it.
Which led, I played that clip of Ilhan, which is why she was so furious about that U.S. aid being cut off.
And you've got a police chief, a harried police chief in Minneapolis, who has been forced to apologize to the Somali community for telling the truth about who's committing juvenile crimes.
Yeah.
You've got the trial balloon from last Monday, when a group of so-called Somali activists were intending to hold a press conference to complain that their funding had been stopped. And they suddenly went dark on that. We haven't heard from them.
We're being targeted.
We need a whole new cast of political characters in this state, or this state is going to continue to be absolutely ruined. And don't buy this absolute BS that this is all done out of the kindness of our hearts and virtue. No, it isn't. It's virtue signaling, and it's a bunch of BS. Passive-aggressive Minnesotans staring at their shoes think Walt does a good job. Are you kidding me? Why don't you all wake up? Tell your friends and neighbors to wake up. We're being robbed daily. It has nothing to do with racism. We're being robbed by professional criminals who happen to be Somali.
Tip of the iceberg. Scratching the surface.
What else did we learn today?
We learned that Yarmos is open till 10.
Yeah.
Not for me.
I know. It's hard not to be depressed.
Boy, if you can get
this.
through this, you can get through anything without Yarmos. This is amazing. It's just amazing. Why don't you come back with the scramble?
You know what?
Because you still have to do this day in history.
I know.
Yeah.
Screw it. We're playing it right now.
Okay.
Run it.
Let's get out of here.
Tony, what do you got?
Finally, thank God today is Friday. TGTI Friday. It's the scramble!
Boy, has there ever been a better time to promote Harmony Spirits than right now?
No.
Yeah, to heck with Yarmos. We're actually going to Yarmos and ask for the Harmony brand by name. But you know what? Now is the time to make a road trip. It's supposed to be a 50-degree weekend towards the end of November. Head down to the tasting room. Say hi to Larry and Damon. Those are those two handsome devils on the screen right there. And the entire Harmony Spirits crew. Hey, you know what? It's holiday season. You're going to be hosting a lot of events coming up. Go get some of those pre-mixed, handcrafted cocktails in the bottle that they sell. It's a wonderful gift if you're going to somebody's house, or if you're having guests, buy some of that stuff. It's a conversation piece. And they're also wonderful drinks, by the way. But you know what you can do? Go into your local liquor store, ask for the Harmony brand by name. That's how we're going to continue to spread all of the great news about Harmony Spirits. And also check out their Facebook page. Probably not a lot of events as we come up on Thanksgiving, but it's worth checking out anyway. But it doesn't matter who's in the mood. Vodka, gin, rum, whiskey,
brown,
it doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter. I got to tell you, I know
Barrel strength, baby.
I keep teasing this. I have to try that caramel apple rum. I really do. But like I said, go into your local liquor store, ask for the Harmony brand by name, and please, if you stop in at the tasting room, make sure that you mention that you heard about them right here on the Garage Logic podcast. Looks like it's time for a town ball story, according to the mayor's body language.
No, I can't. It was right here in front of me. My communication from the traveling linemen.
John, we might need a backup for this day of history.
Rook found it.
There we go.
Where the hell did I put it, Rook?
Right underneath your thing.
Everything else?
Yeah.
At the bottom, I bet, because it's usually the last thing you do.
We have a
got
new
rid of a couple
location. We have a port of call at Point de Galle, Reunion Island in the Indian Ocean.
Reunion Island. I've been there before.
Yeah. That's only because they come from Reunion Island, from the Traveling Lyman's. We're doing this. On this day.
Joe, today is November 21st.
Well, on this day in 1849, the St. Anthony Library Association was formed. A subscription library. It allowed dues-paying members to borrow books and was a precursor to the Free Public Library, which would be authorized by an 1879 law permitting tax levies to support libraries. On this day,
November 21.
In 1902, the steamer Bannockburn and its 20-member crew are seen for the last time.
Oh, no.
As they set forth from Duluth, later disappearing out on Lake Superior.
Wow.
Isn't that frightening?
Yeah, that is frightening.
On this day,
Nobody wrote a song about that.
November 21.
1924, the steamer Merton E. Farr struck and heavily damaged the Duluth Superior Bridge. On this day,
November 21st.
How big is a steamer?
Can be a variety of sizes, Matt. On this day, there's no one steamer.
Thank you for narrowing it down for me.
It can be a variety of sizes, Matt.
Yeah.
Well,
it can be.
It could be 12 feet or 20 feet or 172
steamer,
feet.
it's a Jonathan Paddleford.
Thank you. On this day,
Yes, of course. I see now. Many varieties.
it's not always that person.
Yeah, it's usually an.
You know what? I will
Can
give him
I
credit.
finish the damn thing?
It's been a serious show. He's held off for a fun Friday.
I'm full, man.
On this day,
November 21.
in 1993, they were in the news this week, if not yesterday. The Wiseman Art Museum opened its new building on the University of Minnesota campus. The abstract design was created by world-renowned architect Frank Gehry. On this day in sports disappointment history.
Who would we lose to on November 21st?
Well, on this day in 2021, the Loons lost to the Portland Timbers 3-1 in the first round of the soccer playoffs.
Oh, man. What a disappointment.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that.
I did,
loss.
too. I'd put that way in the back.
Yeah. The Loons, huh?
Yeah.
But we don't call them the Loons anymore.
United
FC?
I think so.
The first steam-powered ship, the Pyrosakov, was built in France 1783.
Thank you. What size was it?
It was big.
Apparently there's a size that you
It was
think
small.
You know what this means, by the way?
What?
Joe?
What?
He's held off for Fun Friday. Next Wednesday, he's going to be intolerable.
Yeah, I'm packing it into 3 days for next week, folks, so tune in.
Let's check out Wednesday.
I got a lot to say.
Oh, and I should make mention before we say thank you, GLers. John Heights Newscast was brought to us by our friends at North American Banking Company.
How did I do? What about this maple syrup thing?
We did that yesterday.
No, but I know. There's
That's
that's
one
a
for next
week's
week.
winner.
Yep.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
I see.
Yes.
I see, said the blind man who picked up a hammer and saw.
There's Longfellow. Feet for Longfellow?
I don't know anything about that. Hey, hi, do us a favor. Hit subscribe on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. Did you know that GL has a YouTube channel?
I did.
And you can watch the show each and every single day, starting right around noon. You can also see full segments, video shorts, behind-the-scenes footage. It's all there for you. Just search Garage Logic on YouTube. And also, search for us on all of your social media channels, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or X. And you can also sign up for the Daily Logician. That's an email that comes right to your inbox each and every single day, and it includes the most recent episode of the podcast. You can find out more and sign up today at garagelogic.com. And thanks to all of you GLers that contributed to Give to the Max Day and benefited the Patrick Schoonover Heart Foundation. We thank each and every single one of you.